because when I make my videos, I know I'm being real. I'm being real. I'm being authentic. Obviously, like, if you're seeing me talking right now, right, this is like you don't know me before, right? You don't know me. You don't know the behavior I had when I was working at Boston Pizza, right? One person can have multiple like titles and multiple titles and aliases and all these things throughout their life, right? Because they're not just in one place all the time, right? They're like they switch jobs, they move places, right? If I move like if I moved out, right? Like I moved out from one place to another, right? It doesn't define me who I am and all that, right? And I might have not even even signed up for this, right? I might have I didn't even maybe ask to be the from whatever like ethnicity and race and country and all these things, right? Oh, you don't ask to be born a certain way, or even you know you don't ask to be born like a certain race or creed or whatever. You're just kind of born. And so you deal with these things as you do, and you deal with them gradually on a daily basis. Now obviously someone's going to want you to and I said it, like, I would have been the one who would have been the fuck over for my mom, right? I would have messed up on my mom's behalf, that that she doesn't have to be the sacrifice for, so that some student in UFT would obtain their degree, or that they would, I don't know, research and find a cure for something, or they do a study, and or they what's it called, they find cure for diseases, or they do research, or they discover something. Also that someone would sacrifice their life per se, because the original concept was that with Moloch and all that stuff. It's serious stuff. It's all in play, because in the beginning that's how it was. And when you have a massive population, obviously we're looking at people. Somebody already said it. We're looking at people who would sacrifice their own comrades, so that they would have a higher standard of living, or that they would have material wealth, as opposed to they'll sacrifice their peers for that, right? But that's not what the purpose of the video is. The purpose of the video, all intents and purposes, like, whether we're blaming one person, and whether we're even talking about what happens next, right? Because nobody really knows, right? Nobody knows. I mean, to some extent, I mean, you could, if you have a routine, and your conscience would be able to predict what would happen next in your life and the lives of your peers. But it's not pretty. None of it's pretty, because you don't want it. You don't want that to happen. You don't want, like you don't want interracial marriage, even interethnic marriage. Like, if you took an Ojibwe and a Cree person, or took an Iroquois and a Huron, and we already know that Iroquois genocided the Huron, you wouldn't want that marriage to occur, because, well, okay, psychologically, it doesn't digest well, but even like maybe spiritually, right? But again, this is like very, 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 very base knowledge. Random guy looking from the inside from Kazakhstan. So I'm not by any means saying that this is what will exactly happen. And it's only my opinion, right? Maybe I'm just a negative individual. I already said, nobody needs to watch these videos and take anything that I say as advice, or that I'm responsible for anything that I say, because it's all just some random guy talking, right, on the internet. You can't put a person in jail for talking and having that freedom of speech, right? Because it seems like everybody's going to jail for something nowadays. So needless to say, that this has to be said, right? And I don't intend on experiencing a great life, right? Because the life I've experienced was great in my eyes. It was good. It was a good life for my eyes. I've had experienced the quality life. I know what it's like to live a quality life. But I'm willing to sacrifice any quality of my life, so that other people who never got to experience it would. And I mean, I was born and raised in a Toronto apartment. And I say that because this would have altered history, altered my fate. It altered, because it's like, I like, you don't grow up with a lot, right? You can grow up with these computers and these computer games and whatever, but it probably isn't the natural original history of what would have happened, what was maybe supposed to happen, right? And I'm not going to speak on it, and I'm not going to say much, but people get overwhelmed, and they will forget, and they will succumb to whatever they succumb to. especially when there's a large population, and it's almost like they wanted you to die and you didn't, and now they're all fucking pissed. Fucking pissed the guy didn't die. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna head to the bathroom here.